Okay, let's get right to it. This section is pretty much covering morality and those gray areas and so forth. Real quick, let's talk about trash. You know, they'll tell you, pack it in, pack it out. And that's cool, but what I will tell you is take responsibility for your trash. And that'll work its way out as I continue to go through. Privy. A privy is an outside restroom. Okay, privies are used for, well, a privy is an outside restroom that you're going to find at the shelter itself. And generally, when you're at the shelter and you have to do number 2, we all know what that is, then you go to the privy to do number 2. Okay, now, when you're at the privy and you finish doing number 2, the practice is you take some leaves, you put it in the thing, you close the toilet, and you walk. Okay, now, privies are not there for trash. Okay, maybe you got a lot of trash and you feel you don't want to pack it out, don't throw it down the privy. When you come to a shelter in mid-July and it's sweltering heat and the privy is full, I'm telling you, man, it's like, it smells like a dung heap, it smells like a cistern, and the problem is, dude, it's like a 15-meter radius. I mean, it just takes up the whole area, and so now you got this beautiful shelter and you can't even enjoy it for the foul smell, you know, and it's just, please, okay, don't throw your trash in the privy. And one more thing about privies. When you have to take a leak, when you go to do number 1, okay, there's been times where you walk into the woods to do number 1 and you come up on a girl. There's been times you walk on the trail to do number 1 and the girl will come up on a guy. This is what I'll tell you. We're not dogs. You don't got to find a tree and feel you have to water it. What I say is this: go to the privy area when the privy is clear and use the restroom in that privy area. You're allowed the privacy that you need. Nobody's going to walk behind you and stumble upon you in some embarrassing moment. And another thing is, you don't know where people are going to set up their camp. You don't know where people are going to tent and whatnot. So anytime there's a privy, use that as a designated area to do number 1 and number 2. But be advised, do not do number 2 in the privy. It's not there for that. But you can do number 2 in that general vicinity where no one's going to walk up on you. They'll just assume you're in the privy. Okay? Now, granted, at nighttime, use your better judgment. But at least at nighttime, whoever that's coming in is already in. You're not pissing on somebody's campsite before. Sorry. You're not pissing on somebody's campsite before they put the tent down and they're unaware of this until they lay their tent down, they're sleeping, and there's this stench of urine coming up through the camp. Okay, fine. Okay, we're going to talk about a fire code. This has to do with fire. Okay, number 1. Actually, well, I'm going to go here first. From Georgia all the way up to almost as far as West Virginia, that's almost considered the Bible Belt. Okay, and you have a lot of devout religious people that come through the trail that maintain the trail. Okay, and part of their trail maintenance is that they'll come and they'll sweep out the shelter. They do a very good job, but they'll go and they'll leave religious material throughout the shelter. You got Bibles, you got pamphlets. I mean, you got everything under the sun, from anti-abortion to, boy, you know. Now I want to make 2 points. Number 1, these are your friends. The trail magic. What is trail magic? Trail magic is civilians coming to the trail and just feeding hikers. I mean, just taking care of you. These people, most of these people are like, it's been my experience, they're Baptist church, but I'm just going to say church in general, religious people in general. Man, they will show you love. I mean, you could be like hiking all day. You come out the trail and there's just a table set up in the middle of the street with just food, you know, and these people are saying, help yourself, God loves you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, praise the Lord. Now, getting back to what I was saying, you're going to come in a situation where it's wet outside and you're trying to start a fire and you have no kindling whatsoever. And then these books are going to be talking to you. Now, here you got the morality code, you know. I want to make 2 points with this. At the end of the day, if you decide to make a fire, number 1, have a little finesse about it, okay? Go back and take the things that not necessarily is like the book itself. You know what I'm saying? Pick and choose what you're going to burn. We understand that you need to make a fire. Some people need to make the fire to cook. Some people need to make the fire to stay warm. At the end of the day, I don't think the Lord's going to judge you. You're trying to make a fire. You're trying to sustain warmth. And at the same time, these people are putting this religious material there for you, for your use, okay? How you use it. But still, though, you know, you don't have to like disrespect them. This is what you don't want to do. You don't want to go ripping stuff up, burning it, and then just leaving the evidence blowing in the street. Scriptures all over the place, half burned. These people are going to see that. They're going to come across and they're going to see that, and then it's going to leave a bad taste in everybody's mouth. So if you got to make a fire, make a fire, but at the same time, be respectful. So show some finesse about it. Now the second point: if you are a devout Christian and you're sitting in that shelter, and you're like appalled at what these people are doing when they're taking this and taking a piece out of here and they're burning it, keep your mouth shut, please. I mean, listen, don't let your emotions get the best of you. Okay, it's part of being around a lot of people. Is the best thing you could tell yourself is, for me, I won't tell somebody they're wrong. I'll say, you know what, I don't understand, and that's just honest. I don't understand your reasoning. I don't understand. I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. And in taking that approach, you're humble enough, and just when the words are coming out your mouth, when you're saying that, then at some point you're letting yourself know that maybe there's something I need to learn, and you're letting them know, I'm not judging you. I just don't understand where you're coming from, and then that puts them in the posture of, well, let me explain where I'm coming from. But the point I'm trying to say is that, if you're a devout Christian and you see people doing things like that, I mean, don't let it leave a sour taste in your mouth. Don't be so removed and so disgusted that it just ruins your hike, And this goes in any situation where you feel strongly about it. Don't let your emotions take your emotions and put them over here, and just look at it from the perspective of what's the point, cause and effect. Why are we doing this? Look at it like that. And if you have a problem, keep it to yourself. If it's negative, keep it to yourself. If you got a hiking partner, you want to go back and vent, that's fine. But I mean, if you turn on a group, if you're the only one saying something negative, the group is going to turn on you. I don't want to say common sense, but please, I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's wrong. I've been in that situation. I made a fire. My conscience is good with it. I love the Lord, but at the same time, I still did it with enough finesse and this, that, and the other. And I was explaining it while I was doing it. If this offends anybody, I'm sorry, but look at what I'm doing. I'm taking this and I'm taking that, and I'm making the fire for everybody. Okay, enough said on that. The burning of trash. Okay, there's this universe. There's a code, and you get these like purists that come in there and be like, well, I don't believe in making fires. I don't want to harm any trees. There's insects that live in the trees, kind of thing. And I'll give you an example. So I come into a trail when I'm coming in late, and as I'm coming in, it's cold, and I'm thinking, why haven't they made a fire? So I'm laying my stuff out, and as I'm laying my stuff out, there's a guy, he's obviously the alpha, and he's explaining to the group, well, I don't believe in fires, and this, that, and the other, and you know what? All his points are valid. I got no problem with that, But when I got finished laying my stuff out, I went out and I started picking up kindling. I'm going through there and I'm picking up stuff, and then I leaned by the, the fire pit, and then I started putting stuff together, and the guy's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm making a fire. This is a fire pit. You make a fire. Well, I'm against it, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, no offense, but this is a fire pit. I'm going to make a fire. That's what the pit's for. If you got a problem with that, I'm sorry. And I went on to make my fire. Now, I can't say if I was right or wrong. He can't say if he was right or wrong. But at the end of the day, my conscience was okay with it. I mean, personally, a campsite without fire is like a party without music. I mean, you want the whole experience. What's the point in it? And my thing with this guy is, dude, if you got an aversion to fires, then why are you setting up in the camp where there's obviously a campsite here? I mean, use your head. If you got a tent, move on down the road. And that's another thing I want to tell people. Don't put yourself in a situation if you're just so, I don't want to say holier than thou, but I'm going to tell you like this. If you got your own code of ethics that are just diverse to the norm, either keep it to yourself, okay, or if you gotta put it out there, don't put it out there in such a, I'm saying it wrong, I'm just babbling, but listen, man, I mean, I want to say don't be upset by it. People don't mean anything negative towards it. If you don't like fires, I'm sorry, this ain't about you, this is about me getting warm, And don't take it personal. Like, there was this one girl, I mean, she was a vegetarian, and every time somebody had something, somebody's eating a drumstick and they got a leg, and she's like, oh, that's so wrong, they're all, beasts of the earth and blah, blah, blah. It's like, baby, come on now, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you're the only vegetarian here. You know people are gonna eat. Why are you tripping? You know what I'm saying? And so basically, you know, if you got, you know, certain moral issues and whatnot, don't kill the mood for everybody. No one wants to be embarrassed, and nobody wants to put you on a spot. So that's another thing, you know. It's just like I said, take the emotion out of it, look at it for what it is, and go from there. Did I talk about burning trash? Did I talk about burning trash? Burning trash. I don't think I did. Okay. They say you don't burn trash. You know, some people say it, some people do. I got a problem. If it burns, I'm burning it. And that's another reason why I talk about, you know, they say pack it in, pack it out. I'm like, hey, you know, take responsibility for your trash. Okay. Now, you don't throw a beer can or a tuna can in a fire pit and expect it to burn. I mean, come on, it's not going to burn. Exactly what are you doing? That doesn't make any sense. However, you know, if I'm doing my thing and I'm done eating and I take a plastic ramen tap plastic piece of paper and I throw it in there and people are like, oh, that's plastic. You can't burn plastic. I'm like, sure, it burns real nice. You see it over there? And I'm like, dude, I mean, you know, come on. I'm sorry, I respect your opinion, but if it burns, I'm burning it. You know, I got 50 pounds on my back. What am I going to be doing around lugging around trash, you know? Now, like I said, you know, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm just like Satan's spawn. I don't know, but I'm going to tell you like this. It's like I said, if your conscience is okay with it, go with it. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. You might not necessarily mesh with the general vibe of what everybody's doing, but at the same time, hike your own hike. You know, if you have a problem and you don't want to burn your trash, then you pack your trash out. That's on you. You know what I'm saying? But if this will burn, I'm burning it. You know, I'm sorry, I got no problem with that. But I'm warning you though, because see, you don't know these things. When you get out there, that you know, you don't know that. Hey, I can't throw this in the privy. You know, some privies are marked to say please don't put your trash in it. Some aren't. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't want you to feel that you can't start a fire because there's somebody there that's all a purist and don't want to do it. Man, if you want to start a fire, start a fire. That's what the fire pit's for. Now, as far as burning trash, you know, maybe you know something about global warming that I don't. Maybe you know something about what's the word? I totally can't even find the word right now. But all the little chemicals and plastic and all this other stuff. You know, if your conscience won't let you do it, then don't do it. My conscience is cool with it. I'm burning it. Food bags. Okay. All right. I'm going to put it to you like this because I'm running out of time. I've been on the trail, blah, blah, blah. I have never once seen, now this is not even in the Smokies. I'll even say this for the Smokies. I have never once seen a bear come up to a shelter, take somebody's food bag out the shelter and go into the woods. It's never happened. And if you ask me, it never will happen. Still, you get these people at the end of the day, they want to come in and be like, well, you're just going to leave your food bag there? Shouldn't you go out there and hang your food bag? What are they talking about? Well, what they want you to do is go outside in the woods, get a rock, find a tree, tie a string to the rock, throw the rock over the thing, and then like hang your food like Paul Bunyan. I'm not judging them. If you feel you need to hang your food, hang your food. Am I going to hang my food? No. It's 30 degrees outside. You want me to go out there and walk so far from the shelter and hang my food and all this other stuff, and then you wake up in the morning, there's icicles on your food bag. You got to go out there. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry. You know, if you come from a place where you feel comfortable hiking your, you know, you want to hang your food bag, hey, knock yourself out. Hang your food bag. My food bag is going to be hanging right here. You know, and there's a place in the shelter where you can hang your bag. You know, I'm not saying they're wrong, and I'm not saying that I'm right. And at the same time, it's really not a respect issue. You know what I'm saying? This is a moral judgment call. You know, if you think it's politically correct to do that, then that's on you. I don't think so. So I'm sorry. So no, I'm not going to do it. And at the same time, I've never seen it just never happened. Now, in the end, most of these people that hang their food get the last laugh. Why do I say this? Because every shelter has rats. Some people call them mice. I'm a city boy. I don't know the difference. I'm calling them rats. Every shelter has rats in it, you know. And so you could be sleeping in the shelter and then the rats go scurrying all over the place. They're going to go in your pack. They're going to eat your food. They're going to do all this stuff. Now, you got some people that'll be like, oh, well, what you do is when you put your pack out, leave a couple pockets open so the rats can get into it and they don't eat through your food. I think that's stupid. What I do is that when I hang my pack, I take my rain cover, I cover the whole bag, and then I seal it off. Okay. Now, some people wake up in the morning and they're like eating their breakfast and everything, and they just look down and they see these like rat holes that's caught to the plastic and started eating their stuff, and that's just gross. But yeah, you sleep in a shelter, you're gonna get rats. If you have your food sitting in the shelter, sometimes the rats will get to your food. So maybe then people got a point. But at the same time, we may not have bears, but sometimes those people that hang their food, they got a problem with squirrels. And these squirrels out there in the woods, I'm telling you, man, they could work for Cirque du Soleil. I mean, they'll do stuff on ropes to get to that food, and they will get to it. Okay, so sometimes they wake up in the morning to a fat squirrel sitting down there that ate all their food or got into it and contaminated the whole works. I don't know. So really, it's a double-edged sword. But for me, it's not really lazy. It's convenience, and it's not even practical to run out there and throw stuff over the thing. Now, I'm talking about a shelter. Okay, now if you're all out in the woods and you're in some like non-designated area, then who knows what kind of wildlife is out there. But I'm talking about as far as a shelter is concerned, I've never seen it. If you feel comfortable hanging your food, hang your food. Last point, I hope I can get this out. Sharing your food. Okay, out there in the world, when you go to a restaurant or something like that and you're done with your food, you're not gonna, if you leave a little steak on your plate, you're not gonna turn over to some table and be like, hey man, you want to finish that? That's just rude. It just doesn't happen. Trail is totally different. When you're on a trail, you share everything. Every hiker is starving. There's a reason why we're called hungry hikers. You come in with 5 days worth of food, okay, and okay, you know what, I'm gonna have to stop. I'm gonna pick it up. We're gonna call it food. And man, I'm doing a lot of videos today. All right, out here.